I do have a fun thing I want to do with you from this couple I follow. Basically, it's I stand still and you're trying to chip marshmallows into my mouth. But I can't move to catch the marshmallow. I just have to stand there like this. And you have to chip it into my mouth.
Oh, that would be
hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Let's do that tonight.
I might catch one thin and just.
You wouldn't do that on purpose because you're nice.
No, but my golf game
is so good.
Is not as consistent.
Oh,
so well, I might.
You won't hit me. I don't think.
Well, what if you're standing still?
It's harder. It's harder than you
think.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's chip.
This is not fun anymore. Never mind. Fun. Let's get started.
Let's go. It's Monday.
Happy Monday.
And welcome to the It's Monday podcast. Today we're talking kids in ministry, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because we're ministry kids. Mm-hmm. So we're ministry kids in ministry, now raising ministry kids. Mm-hmm. So it's fun.
Let's start off with your Monday, though.
Monday's great. I'm ready. Got a workout in, had a coffee meeting, and it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good week. I'm ready for it.
Same.
Yeah.
We meal prepped last night, and that felt good. I have had a Monday where it's like, I feel like I set myself up for success. We did the meal prepping. We got up, and it was just like, do you ever have those moments where you feel like your brain is like detached from your body?
In what way?
Like, you do things and you're like, what am I even doing?
Like you're on autopilot?
Kind of like you're on autopilot, but the things you're doing on autopilot, like, do not make sense. Like, we had made this plan to go to the gym. Mm-hmm. I show up at the gym and I look at my clock, my phone, and it's like, I have 20 minutes to work out. And I was like, why did I do that? I thought I had it planned out a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I went home, got Winston, took him to school, and then he forgot some things, so I had to take him back. And then I was on my way to the office, and I was already going to be a little late, and I forgot our lunches that we spent time meal prepping. So I was like, I'm already late. Might as well go home, get the lunch. As I'm going home, I pull back into the school, and I'm like driving around the parking lot for like a minute. And I'm like, what am I doing here? It just kind of felt like that all morning. Like I was like kind of rushing to places.
Yeah.
But then like, I'm like, what am I even doing? And then I went home, got the lunch, but it just kind of felt like that.
It was just like a frenzy of
activity. It was like a little chaotic this morning.
Well, we're here.
Things did not go as I planned.
The lunch is here. You got to work it in. Kids are in school. They're healthy and happy. And we're ready to go.
We're ready to go. Another week.
Let's jump in it.
Let's go. Raising kids in ministry, but who don't resent ministry or the church.
Yeah, I think this is a question not just for like ministry people, but like raising kids in church, and especially to people who are involved in the church, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to like raise your kids in church if you're just purely a consumer. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely people out there where they don't serve, they're not involved, they just come to church almost as you would go to a movie. Let me watch the thing. Let me go home. Let me talk about it on the way home. What'd you think of that? Almost like, what'd you think of that movie? What'd you think of that church? And that's great. That's a great starting point. And there's a lot of people that's better than not, right? That's a first step, and we celebrate those steps. But a funny story about being in ministry, I don't know if there's people that connected with this. When I was in college, we used to go to this thing that was like a ministry kid retreat. And it was specifically for missionary kids. And I was a missionary kid. And it was held every Thanksgiving because we were in college and all the missionary kids during Thanksgiving had nowhere to go home. So they would do a big like retreat, and all the missionary kids who didn't have a place to spend Thanksgiving.
From where? Missionary kids from where?
Oh, all over the world. And the thing is we would get together at this missionary kid retreat. So again, it's all these kids whose parents were missionaries who couldn't go home. And so we would get together, and it was a really well-meaning, like it was cool, a lot of good memories, and we would always do it in Winter Park, Colorado. Right. So we would have like morning sessions, and then we'd have evening sessions, like church services, basically, and we got to snowboard in the afternoon. Well, like all the guys during the morning are like, I don't want to be listening to like Bible studies right now. I want to go snowboard. But the thing is that all the sessions were geared around like, do you hate your parents? Do you hate God? Do you hate ministry?
Like why would they assume you hated your parents? Because of like ministry?
Yeah,
It was like
because
they
it was
were
like,
assuming you had ministry angst.
yeah, it was like they were already assuming that, I'm just so mad. My parents moved me all over the world and all these things. And I'm not saying that there's not real stories of real pain and real challenge. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is like the whole thing every year was like, if you need to forgive your parents, come down to the front. We're going to pray. Or if you hate ministry, and the challenge was like, I would be at those things and I'd be like, I don't hate ministry. Mm-hmm. I don't hate my parents. Like, I don't hate God. Like, mm-hmm. I just want to go snowboarding. And all these people would, and I don't know whether I was just like the outlier or maybe I just was like emotionally disconnected, but like you would get these people that would have like these kumbaya moments and they would like tell the stories of like, yeah, my parents did this and like we were always at the church and it was just like this big cry fest. And so obviously I'm like, well, I don't want to raise kids like that. Right. And, we were at the church all the time. And even in college.
Your parents were missionaries when you got older, but your dad pastored a church for a long time
and
while you were a kid.
A small church, like a small church where my dad did everything. Mm-hmm. So like we would show up on Sunday mornings and my job on Sunday morning was clean the bathrooms. So that was my brother and I's job. We would clean the bathrooms. My dad would mow the lawn of the church.
Hold on. So you know how to clean bathrooms?
I knew how to clean bathrooms. I knew how to
getting
clean
from this story.
I knew how to clean the bathrooms of commercial properties.
The Lord's bathrooms.
No, what I'm saying is commercial bathrooms are different than residential bathrooms.
They're worse.
Yeah, and that's where you can just get the mop and just like everywhere and just spray it down.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with you never cleaning our bathroom. Just get the mop. Okay, anyways, as you were saying, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just had a
Well, I'm just saying like we were there. We were there at church all the time.
And part of it.
And it's where our friends were. It's where our memories were made. I mean, after church, once they took communion back to the back kitchen, we would go back and steal communion.
Did you have the little square crackers?
We had the square crackers, and we used to pretend we were taking shots with the grape juice.
Oh my gosh.
It was very sacrilege. I don't know that I recommend it, but when you're 7, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
You're just.
Our little kids asked to do the communion. It'll be always sitting back in like the worship green room, and every time they're like, "Can we have one of these?" I'm like, "It's not good."
Yeah, it's not. But I think the tension around, right? Like my kids are always at the church. And that idea of that there are people out there who either are children of ministry, parents or people, right? And this is not like my parents were paid by the church. This could be somebody where like their parents served the church really faithfully and they were always there. And now you have a whole generation of parents who are like, I don't want to make my kid do anything.
Yeah, but also it's not just even people who serve the church. It's people who just attend church.
Yeah.
Hear that from their kids.
Right.
I don't want to go every Sunday, or why do you make me go to youth every Wednesday? So I don't think it's just people who are at the church all of the time. It's the regular rhythm of attending church, and this is part of our lives, and it's a day where you could sleep in, but you make your family get up and go. So I think it's universal to people who attend church.
Well, I think the short answer, and we can explain this more, but the short answer for parents who are raising kids in and around the church, I think it comes down to just flat out, how do you talk about the church around your kids? So are you talking like, oh, we got to go to church. I have to, or it's like, man, I got another email. Or if in ministry case, it's like, I hate my job. I hate having to do this. And it's kind of one of those things of they will pick up on the energy that you give off. And so for us, it's always like, man, we get to go to church. This is awesome. This is exciting. And sometimes it's like, yeah, because it's dad's job. So we're going to the church. But I love my job. And it is amazing that like my job and our ministry kind of atmosphere get to be connected. Now, not everybody has that, right, that opportunity. But I think the biggest factor is like, how are you talking? How are you acting? What's your emotional energy when it comes to church?
Yeah, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
Because parents set the tone for the family. And I think a lot of parents, what they do is they allow their kids, and by no means, I'm not like some parenting expert. We don't even, I always feel like I can't talk about parenting until my kids are adults and they're
Yeah,
like,
because we don't know if what we're doing is going to work.
yeah, they could turn out, they could like take a hard left turn at 19 and then.
In Jesus' name, they won't.
Yeah. Just put that out there in the atmosphere. But I think it's one of those things of like, how are you talking? How are you acting? And my kids don't set the tone for my home. I set the tone for my home. We set the tone for our home. And if it's going like, hey, this is where we're headed, it's going to be fun. We're going to make it fun. We're going to have good attitudes. But then as they get older, like now we have teenagers, now you begin to explain the why.
Yeah.
Right. And you sit down with them and you go, man, here's why we serve the church. Here's why church is an important part of our life. It's a foundational to our life. Here's why we're going to build our life around the church. We're not going to fit church into our life. Does that make sense? Like we're starting with, we're going to be in church. Now, do we let our kids skip Sundays?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do we skip Sundays sometimes?
Yes.
Absolutely. You need breaks. It's not like you have to be there every weekend. And God doesn't look at your church attendance and go, well, you have 100%. So
you get more blessed.
You get more. Well, there's actually something to that. But I think it's starting in that space. And I just don't know if parents are afraid and they live out of fear, right? They have this fear mindset that if I don't want to ruin my kid.
Yeah, I think it's because like in other areas of your life, you make your kids do certain things, like whether it be chores or whatever, and they have a bad attitude about it. And you think it's going to be the same thing for church.
Yeah.
I think for me growing up, it was pretty strict. We did not miss church. I grew up in I don't feel good. Okay, we're going to church to get healed. Like you could be running a fever. And my mom was like, we're going to church and you're going to the altar at the end and I'm going to have the pastor lay hands on you. That was the kind of house I was raised in. But I did not grow up resenting the church and neither did my brother. But we also had friends at church.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the difference makers is as adults, you have to make friends at church and then your kids will make friends at church. Yeah. And our kids have definitely, especially all of our kids go through periods where like, we don't want to go to church. We don't want to go to church. But as our older two have gotten older and they're in youth group, I don't hear that as often because they're excited to go to church. And sure, they're not excited to go to church to hear from God. I've literally never heard that out of any of our children. They want to go to church because their friends are at church.
Yeah.
And that's where their very best friends are. And I think that is one of the difference makers in like having not forced friendships, but you have to make friends at church.
Yeah.
And you have to have your kids there on a regular basis and a good routine and rhythm so that they can meet friends too.
I think church is kind of like the gym, right? So when you go to the gym, if you go to the gym at the same time, there's always like somebody there.
You see the same people.
Yeah, you see the same people. And it kind of works like this. Like there's the first initial like head nod to like a bro. You're like, what's up? And you have that at church. Yeah. You're like, oh. And then maybe a week or two goes by and there's like another head nod and, we're like, hey, what's up, dude? And it's kind of weird now because everybody's got their AirPods in and, like we don't want to talk. Don't talk to me. But it kind of stacks because consistency leads to connection. And just like the gym, you head nod, then you might like dab somebody up. Then you might like, hey, so like, where do you work? Or you get to know them a little bit. And then all of a sudden it turns into, dude, let's train together sometime. And then it's like, hey, let's get together outside of the gym. Like, are you guys doing anything this weekend? Yeah, cool, man. Bring your girlfriend. I'll bring my wife or whatever it is. But I think so many people come into church, especially with their families, and they want this immediate connection. They want to like find their people immediately. And they're like, if I don't find my people, like this just isn't the church for me. As if we have like this vending machine of friends that we're like, yeah, pick which friend you want to be a part of. I think it just takes consistency.
Why do you think it's different at church though? Because you see people at the gym who you're like, you see interactions and you're like, you guys did not know each other before coming to the gym, but you've had conversations with people like that. But at church, you don't hear that a lot. Why do you think it's different at church?
I think because it's one of those types of things. Again, if you go in with like a consumer mentality, like I'm going in to just get the content and then I'm leaving, they miss literally the richness of what church has to offer. We were talking with a couple literally yesterday, and they were talking about how they were new here. They moved like literally halfway around the world, and they've settled. They've been here for 4 years. And one of the biggest steps that they're taking is inviting
people over to their house.
Inviting people to their house.
Not to invite them to church, but just
to build community. And so I think going back to the kids thing is being intentional about, man, am I building community? But also you said something, and I know I'm like leaning into a shot here, but you said something that's really important, that if church is viewed as a spiritual chore, they will resent it. And I think parents have to do a good job explaining why they love the church.
Yeah.
Why we love it here. What does church do for our life? What does it do for our family? Why does God ask us to do that? And when parents never take time to explain, number one, why they love the church, and number two, like why God asks us to be a part of the church. And that's the really scary part, especially raising kids, because if you can't explain why and give a good, helpful understanding, which may mean that parent actually may need to spend some time going, why do I love the church? I love the church? Yeah. Like, why is this an integral part of my life? Oh, and the next layer is, why does God want me to be a part of the church? Like, what does the scripture say? And why is this so important? And especially in the age of where it's only digital communication and connection, like we miss human connection, and your kids miss human connection. And for all the parents out there, like just raising iPad kids, like that is the scariest thing. Is one day they're going to be iPad adults, and
which we get it. It's easy to raise iPad kids.
Oh, it's so easy to raise iPad kids.
People poo-poo on raising iPad kids, but it's really easy. It's way easier to raise iPad kids.
Well, I think that's the point.
To do anything else.
It is easy, and sometimes
the addiction happens quick.
Oh, talk about Fenty lean. There's like screen lean. There's like whining and crying and gnashing of teeth when you don't let your 6-year-old watch the iPad.
Hypothetically.
No, this is not hypothetical.
This was last night in our house.
Last night, our 6-year-old, it's like bedtime, and I'm like, hey.
He had baseball practice, and he got home from baseball practice, and his older brother was playing video games, and he wanted to play video games, and I was like, no, it's bath time and bedtime. Yeah.
And he broke down crying.
And that's when you came in, because I was like, Eric, he's all yours.
Yeah.
You're on it.
No.
I can't do it.
He was like in a towel. He had just got out of the bath, and he was like wrapped in a towel. And just tears.
He came out because he was like, I didn't get to say hi to Daddy. He came out in his towel, said hi to Eric. And then he was like, asked me about screen time. I said, no. And then he literally goes like this. His head it was like automatic. The head goes back. The lips come down. And he goes, oh, and just walked to his bedroom with his towel wrapped around him. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
And our older kids, of course, are like, you're raising an iPad kid. Oh my gosh, he's such an iPad kid. I'm like, okay. You raise him.
Yeah, you raise him.
You raise him. I'm doing the best I can. I think, for me, because I was raised with, I wouldn't even say it was rigid, but that was just the rule. Like, you just went to church. I started out like that with our kids, and my parents weren't pastors. They were when I was young, but so when we went to church, it was one service. I've tried to have a little bit of give and take with our kids now, where it's like, it's not so rigid, and I can see when they're getting like tired. Yeah. And it does become like a chore. I don't want to go. And I don't necessarily give into that every time, but I can kind of see like, okay, coming up in a few weeks, we have a slower Sunday, or I'm not on the mic or whatever. We're going to take a Sunday and we're going to chill, and I'm going to leave y'all at home, or we'll come late.
But to your point, ministry kids are going to be at the church significantly more.
Yeah.
Significantly more.
Yeah.
Like we have 3 services on Sunday. So there's Sundays where our kids get to the church at 7:15 and don't leave until 1:30, 1:45. And then during the week, they may be up because we have a meeting or a service or something else. And it's like, even in all that volume, there are still ways that your kids can love the church. And I think it comes back to every single time, why do you love the church? And why does God say the church is important? And to your point, just know your kids well enough to go, okay, they might need a Sunday.
Yeah.
But if it's like every stinking Sunday,
Yeah.
your kids are probably like emotionally manipulating you.
There's also different seasons in parenting too. It's hard when your kids are little to be at the church for multiple services and then to be at a volunteer thing as volunteers, not even as like, staff people, but it's hard when your kids are little because my kids don't need a nap right now. So when they get tired, I can say, go chill in the office.
Yeah.
You don't have to be around everybody, but for babies, it's hard. So you have to know your family and know the season you're in, but also don't let your kids dictate.
Okay, but I have
your
a question
flow
for
in
you on
ministry.
that. I have a question. You can speak to this because obviously, because I'm a cis white male, I probably I'm not allowed to have an opinion. And so
I don't think people are saying that anymore.
Huh?
I don't think people are saying
people are
cis white
definitely
male.
saying that. And this is a real question.
Okay.
I know I prefaced it with some distractions, but one of the things I see, and I want you to speak to it as a mom, is like around bringing your kids in the church and all that kind of stuff, is you'll see a new mom, and like you won't see them for 18 months. They just like won't come to church. Like, is that like if it's a perfectly healthy baby, no complications, you just had a baby, and it's like, why do parents now, and maybe you can give a motherly perspective, why do parents now just be like, all right, see you in 2 years?
Well, from my perspective, could be a myriad of things, but usually it's one of 2 things. They live in fear that their kid is going to get sick, and so they don't want their kid around other people, or it messes up the schedule and the nap time routine, and it is hard, and we don't want to be stretched to do hard things.
Are you saying that gently?
Yeah.
You're trying to be like really kind right now.
I am trying to be really kind right now.
Okay,
but
so the first one is,
I think new
kid-
moms especially. It's like taking your kid to, especially if they don't go to daycare or anything, taking your kids to a church nursery is scary because they're going to get sick because they're around new germs and they're going to get sick. And so you don't want to take your kid. I don't want to take my kid. He's going to get sick. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just not going to take him. I want to protect him, which I totally get. That is like, you're a great mom. Nobody wants their kids to be sick.
And then that sickness then ruins their routine during the week.
Yeah.
And now I got a sick kid.
Now I got a sick kid.
I'm not sleeping.
Yep.
And it's kind of one of those things of like, well, forget church then.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other one is,
it's hard.
The baby naps at 10.
The baby naps at 10. He's going to the nursery. He's not going to get a nap. Blah, 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 blah. This is hard, getting out of the house. I have to do that the rest of the week because I'm a working mom and I take him to daycare, so I don't want to do that. Or this is not my normal routine, and so I don't want to mess up my normal routine and the baby's routine, so I just don't do it.
Okay, but here's the question I have. Being a parent, especially a new parent, creates so much stress in your family, in your soul, but it's also a massive blessing. So I think my fear for them, if I was like pastoring them, and again, like there's certain things that, I can't speak to because I don't have the lived experience. But again, if I'm
being a mom.
Yeah. Right. But if I'm a parent or a pastor speaking to parents, I would say in that critical season, how much do you actually need church for your soul, for your heart, for your spiritual health? Because essentially what you're doing is you're
isolating yourself.
You're isolating yourself. And I know like even walking with you through multiple pregnancies, like there's a lot of like postpartum and emotional challenges and hormonal challenges. And then also you feel like pretty quickly like, oh my gosh, this kid has ruined my life. Right. And it's like, why did I even want this kid? Which is crazy because you believed and dreamed, and all of a sudden,
well, that's a real thing.
It's like suffocating. And it's like church becomes this really healthy place of like, man, it can actually feed your soul. It can put you around community, around people, and not living in isolation. And so it's like, maybe it's one of those types of things of choose your hard. Is that unfair?
No, not at all. But I think until you experience it, you don't understand, you don't realize that isolating yourself and staying at home because going to church is hard is actually the harder thing, because it's like delayed, not delayed gratification, but it's like delayed consequences, if that makes sense. Like delayed ramification. I'm isolating myself in these four walls, literally. And you feel already so lonely as a new mom, or even just as a mom with multiple kids. I remember when I had Malcolm, I still was staying at home mostly, and I felt so lonely and I had 4 kids. I was rarely alone. But when you stay in isolation, the problems that you have, and even like the thoughts in your mind that are not from God, they just run rampant, and that's all you hear.
Yeah.
And so when you get out and you get in community, and it just takes a lot of effort, but the reward is so much greater than the extra hour of sleep you're going to get by staying at home on Sunday.
Well, and maybe that's where I can speak to as the husband, right? You know, the husband, if you know that this is the challenge of the mom, like, I'm afraid if they get sick, or, it messes the routine up. Well, how is the husband creating an environment where, hey, as the head of the home, right? Not like in a domineering, like, listen, woman, get your butt, and but like, I wonder how many,
go to church.
But no, I wonder how many husbands out there are kind of quietly like, yes.
Yeah, they don't want to go to church either. They're tired too because they're losing sleep.
Right. And it's like, how, if a husband is called to be the priest of his home and the head of his home, how is he guarding that home spiritually if he's not in the house of the Lord? And yes, it's getting an understanding of your wife and her needs, and then it's going, okay, how can I serve you in such a way that makes going to church something that you can manage? Because you know what, I'm going to handle the nap schedule. I'm going to handle the sick kid, because as a priest of my home, being in spiritual community is so important that I will do what I need to do to make sure my family's in that church. Right. And I think that's where,
which is like the more spiritual thing than actually showing up at church, in my opinion.
That's my point. It's because if you look at it like your home is not the church, right? It's not, but you do pastor your home as a father and a husband. You pastor your home. And so the big question is, if I am married and I have a new child and we have not been in church in months, the big question is this: am I pastoring my home in such a way where my family can worship with the body of Christ, and I'm meeting my wife's and my family's needs, even if that means I get 3 hours of sleep and she gets 6, I handle the snotty noses. And I think that even me as a man, that's one of the things I've learned being married, being a husband, is that the priorities that you want to set for your family, you don't get to just speak them and then go, okay, everybody do them. You have to like serve them into existence. Right. Yeah. And, like even with our routines and all those types of things, that's not something you do. That's something that, okay, how do I serve? How do I lean into that? That then creates the environment for you and my family to flourish. And so, and I think that's why, I know it's tongue in cheek, but I think that's why you have, quote unquote, like beta males, right? Like, meaning not like, I'm not talking beta as in like they're soft or they're not athletic or they don't like to hunt or they don't like trucks and all. I'm saying beta is in like, they are not taking the role of leading the family, right? And that
Yeah.
can come across. It's not, oh, this is, masculine. I got tattoos and chest hair and all. That's not what this is. It's going, hey, I want to lead my family, and I'm going to take the spiritual responsibility of my home. And I think going back to ministry kids, and raising your family, I think it just comes down to also just like, dude, this is our life. This is what we do. Because you see families that are sports families.
And that is what they do.
That is what they do. Every weekend, they get the ice chest. They hide their alcoholic drinks in their Yetis. They show up to the baseball field. They drag all their kids there who aren't playing in the games, and they will be there all weekend long. And they are worshiping, but just at a baseball field, right? They are organizing their family around the priorities that they feel are important. Even lake weekend families, right? Like if they got a boat and it's the weekend, it's like, we're going out on the boat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. All right. Well, you're organizing your family around those priorities. And I think when your children watch you and you love the church and you love serving and you can explain why, like theologically and doctrinally, why it's so important to be rooted in the church, and then you do it and you have fun, and you're not driving to church like, oh, I don't want to be here. But like that, I think about that scripture where it says, let us enter his courts with thanksgiving and praise. Man, are we heading to church on the way? Are we talking about church? Like, man, I'm so excited for what God's going to do this morning. I'm so excited for what the word's going to bring. If they're serving, I'm so excited to love somebody and serve somebody.
I'm so excited
right?
to see my friends. That's what I talk about with my little kids. Who are you going to see today?
Totally.
And they talk about all their little friends at church. My goal is not to raise kids who love the ministry or who are going to be in ministry one day. My goal is to raise kids who love the Lord and serve his church.
Yeah.
And I do that, hopefully, we'll see after they get raised, by doing that myself. There's not, that's not to say there's not Sundays where I'm like tapped, kind of cranky, and we have those conversations with our kids. Like I'll tell my kids, like, I don't really want to go to church today either. I'm kind of tired, but I'm going to go. We're going to go because this is what we do.
Yeah. And then I think the final thing, the element is the part that's not us. And that's that the Holy Spirit is at work in their life. And there is a grace, I think, upon families that prioritize the Lord. And I see it in ministry kids. I see it in families where there's the Holy Spirit and the grace of the Lord is upon families who prioritize the church. And trust that the Lord wants your children to fall in love with him just as much as you did. And they're on their own journey. Yeah. And you get to be a pivotal part, but never overlook that the grace of the Lord is in operation in your family. And where your shortcomings are, where your failures are, of course, like you can keep making those decisions and like you can definitely create challenges for yourself there. But if you're doing your best, you're trying to take steps towards the Lord, you're trying to grow as a believer, you're trying to prioritize the church in your family and your faith in your family, where there's gaps of, parenting challenges, man, the grace of the Lord is there. That God's grace is good. And I think never forget that. So do
your best. Let God do the rest.
Where's the hanky?
My pastor used to say that. Yeah. I wanted to say something about like rhythms and like making it special. Your dad used to take you and your brother to
IHOP.
But it wasn't the IHOP.
Yeah, it was IHOP.
I thought it was a different.
We called it the Blue House.
Oh.
Because it had a blue roof.
Oh, okay. But he took you to IHOP every Sunday, right?
Every Sunday we would either go to IHOP, we'd go to Waffle House, or we'd go to the Original Pancake House.
Original Pancake House. That's what I was talking about.
And there was the Yellow House, the Blue House, the Green House.
But I think it's your dad created like a special memory and a rhythm around a routine that could have gotten just kind of mundane.
Yeah.
And I don't do that with our kids every Sunday, frankly. However, it is Sundays are our day to like eat out. Like we always grab takeout on the way home and we don't eat out a ton. Well, you say I eat out Chick-fil-A all the time, but that's besides the point. As a family, we don't like go out to eat.
Yeah. We eat at home a lot.
We eat at home a lot. And so Sundays has been like,
and the kids pick.
The kids look forward to it. They pick, they fight and complain and scream and yell about who gets to pick, and they don't like what the person picked. But that's like part of our little routine. So I would say like create like
Family
a fun
rhythms.
family memory and rhythm around these routines that can be kind of laborious.
Yeah. And it's fun for kids.
Yeah.
Whether it's like,
and they look forward to it.
We're going to go to church, we're going to go to Costco, and you get an ice cream at the end of Costco.
Yeah.
And they look for like family memories. And I
Yeah.
think that's so key. I just gave you like the gym look, you know, in the office, like when you were like, you go to Chick-fil-A a lot. Praise God. It's Monday.
He used ChatGPT to check our budget and see where we spend the most money. And he said that his ChatGPT, which is biased to him, said that the most of our money goes to me going to Chick-fil-A with our children.
No, I downloaded all my expenditures for a month and I threw it into chat and I was like,
whatever.
Give me a pattern of spending that could be eliminated. And it was like one of the top.
One of the top. Here's what usually happens is he'll be like looking on our thing like, what is this expense and what is this expense? And they're all my expenses and he knows that. And then I'll get on and I'll be like, hold up. But what about this one?
People don't want to know about how our financial practices are.
That is golf.
No, you don't. Hey, it's Monday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.